Okay, boys and girls, in this video, we're working on 8-5, so we're skipping ahead again. And this is all about adding angles together. So as a quick reminder, we learned yesterday how to measure angles. Angles are measured in degrees. So we're going to take some angles that show the measurement of their degrees, and we're either going to add them together or we're going to combine two different angles together to create an amount. So you'll see more what I'm talking about in a second. Okay, so this is actually in your book. It's on page, let's see, it's on page 369 if you want to turn there with me. And if you need to, you can pause the video, and then once you've got it open, you can turn it back on. So if I look, I have two angles that I put together right here to form another angle. The measure of the whole angle is the sum of the measures of the small angles. So if you look, there's two small angles right here. You can see angle 1 that's 45 and angle 2 that's 45. The whole angle it's talking about would be A, B, C, like this. It would tell you how much all of this is. This from here all the way up to here, how many degrees that was. So we could use a protractor, or since it already gave us the amounts right here, all we need to do is add them together, and I'll show you how. So you take 45 and you're going to add on 45. So let's figure out what that is. I'll write it off to the side. We'll add it up. So I got that this is 90 degrees. What type of angle is that? You're right, it's a right angle. Okay, well now let's look at this one. I have angle EFH that was 30 degrees, and I have angle HFG that's 60 degrees. We want to know what the angle what EFG is, so the whole angle. So what we do is we add the two angles that we already have. We have this 30 degrees, and we need to add on 60 degrees. Well, let's do it. It gives me 90 degrees. What type of angle is this? It is a right angle. Good job. Okay, now look at this next one. I have 90 degrees and 90 degrees. So if you look, JKM was 90, MKL was 90. It wants to know what the whole angle is, so JKL, so all the way around. How many degrees was that? Well, the way we figure it out is we add the degrees we have together. So we do 90 degrees plus 90 degrees. We can add that off to the side. 0, 18, bring it down. So it's 180 degrees. We learned about what type of angle this is yesterday. It was a new one. What type of angle was this? Remember, it looks like a line. What type of angle do we call it? It's called a straight angle. If it measures exactly 180 degrees, it's called a straight angle. Okay, let's look at the next one. I have angle NPR, and I have another angle RPQ. Now NPR was 130. RPQ was 50 degrees. This wants to know what the whole angle is, so from here all the way over here. Well, we can find that by adding up the angles we have. So we'll take 130 degrees and we'll add on 50 degrees. So 130 plus 50. That also gives us 180 degrees. What type of angle is that called again? You're right, it's a straight angle. Now, sometimes you'll have angles like this, where they give you angles. You can see I have ABC, which was 35, DEF, which was 40, GHJ, which was 50, KLM, which was 95 degrees, QPN, which was 140 degrees. These are all different angles. And it wants to use the angle shown to make other angles. So if I wanted an angle that was 75 degrees, what two angles could I add together to get that? And you can find this page on 370 if you're wanting to get there with me. So which two angles would we put together to make 75 degrees? Well, let's look. If I add 35 and 95 together, that made 130 degrees. Is that the same? No, it's not. So it wouldn't be those two angles. Ooh, what about 35, so I'm using this one, and 50. Would that work? No, that was 85, so no, that wouldn't work. Can you see two angles you could add together to get to 75? Some of you are saying 35 and 40. So if I do 35 plus 40, that gives me 5, gives me 75. That's what I was aiming for. So you would write the sign, it looks like an angle, and then you'd write A, B, C. See, A, B, C. And we'd also do angle F, E, D. Or you could have done D, E, F. Either works. F, E, D. You just have to follow it along. Okay? Or you could have worked backwards where you did D, E, F. Either one works. So I did F to E, and then E up to D. Okay? So those angles were the angles that created 75 degrees. Well, let's try another one. Okay, I want us now to make 145 degrees. How could we do this one? Look at the angles and see what you think. Well, could it be, maybe 95 plus 40? Let's see. I was really, really close. See, I did 40 and 95. Didn't quite work though, but I'm close, so I know it needs to be greater than 40 degrees to be able to get there if I'm adding the 95. Do you see an angle that's greater than 40 degrees? You're right. Maybe this 50 degrees and this 95 will work. Let's try it. And I add it, and I get 145 degrees. So that means I'm going to create my angles. I draw my angle sign. It's a Q angle. See how I follow? K to L. So I write K, then L, and it goes from L to N. So L, N. So I have that angle, and I combined it with G to H. So I draw my angle sign, G to H. And then I went H to J, so I write my J right there. So I have all the points on the angle. So those were my two angles that combined together to reach 145 degrees. Now I want you to think, are there any two angles that could form together to create a straight angle? Remember, a straight angle is a straight line, and how many degrees does it have? You're right if you said 180 degrees. Can you think of any two angles that could be put together to create 180 degrees? You try this one on your own. Pause the video and you try. When you're ready, correct it with me. Okay, well, if I was doing this, I would know there's 140 degrees and 40. I know if I added these together, I would get 180 degrees, which is what I was trying for. So the way I would write it, see how I have F-E-D? So I'm going to write angle F-E-D, and I got those from these points right here, and I follow them in order, F to E, then from E to D. And then I found QPN. So, an angle Q, then I went to P, and then I went up to N, QPN, just like that. Those would be my two angles. Okay, last one that I want you to try on your own. Okay, what if I gave you this? What if I wanted you to create a right angle? How many degrees does that have? You're right, it has 90 degrees. So you try to come up with an angle, two angles you can add together to create 90 degrees. Pause the video. When you're ready, you can turn it back on and correct with me. Okay, so by now you should have done it on your own and you should be correcting with me. I can see I have 40 and 50 degrees. And I know 40 plus 50 would give me 90 degrees, which is what I was wanting to reach in the end. So I would say angle, and I'm going to work backwards this time, D, E, F. So I went from D to E, because it only matters that you follow the order, not whether you start here at F or at D. And then E to F. So I have angle DEF, and I don't have to write E twice because I already had it written down. And then I have angle, we'll start up here, JHG. So I went down to H, so it was JH, and since I already have H, I don't have to write it again. Go H to G, and those are my two angles that would equal 90 degrees. Okay, if you have questions, message me on Google Hangouts, and I would love to help you. See you guys.